Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Tuesday night, November 26, 2024 is the date, about 10:16 p.m. California time here. The latest activity on the globe shows a little .9. Also, Japan area, still seeing quite a bit of movement down here across the area. Not for sure why the globe is kind of glitching out like that. A 6-pointer coming into this area earlier this morning, so it looks like that needs to be adjusted here accordingly to add that 6-pointer back on. There we go. Across the area of the Kumano Ridge. This is also called the Nankai Trough, a major subduction zone area. The earthquake activity recently has been kicking up north here. This is where that 7-pointer struck back in the January 1st time period. Now, the Kumano Ridge area is a potential producer of megaquake activity. In fact, back in August of this year, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake centered under the sea there off of the certain prefecture triggered a review, I guess, from seismologists there at the Japan Meteorological Agency. They had a special meeting and judged a potential sign from the 7.1 that struck back in August of a massive earthquake along the Nankai Trough running below the sea. So they, that mega quake alert was put out in August. We still have yet to see that mega quake, but I think it is getting close due to all the elevated seismic activity around it. Now, it looks like this area has a major quake every 100 to 150 years on average. And it can include up to magnitude 8.3, 8.5. If we look at the dates here, August 26, 887, and then 0.8. Now that's that subduction zone area I was just telling you about right here. If we go back and see when the exact last one was here, looks like there's 1707 M8.6, big earthquake back then. 1854 and 8.4. 1944 a 7.9 looks like when the last one was across that area. So you think about it, on average there, the intervals of large earthquakes runs about 100 to 150 years on average. But who's to say that 7.9 there back in 1944 really didn't relieve enough strain, to offset that interval. So they're just kind of watching it. This area, the Kumano Ridge region, seeing a lot of activity around it. And, of course, that 7.1 that struck here in August out on this area. And it's a major subduction zone, like any other major subduction zone out here, capable of producing some large earthquakes. And, some further movement up here across the Kuril-Kamchatka. And in fact, there we go. It's been a long day. A 5.4 earthquake following all this movement earlier today. So it looks like a little bit of a strain and adjustment across this area of that subduction zone. This is a major, lengthy subduction zone. And a lot of time has passed since we've seen a megaquake on that area as well. So far as newer activity, what's going on here? It looks like we've come somewhat to a halt out here across this area of the globe with a lot of red rings there on the model. As far as any newer activity goes, it looks like California lighting up a little bit out here. So let's see what we got for the California region. A couple of earthquakes here at the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone, including a 2.3 here in the last hour or so. Let's see, Dinsmore. I was looking to see if I could find that earthquake showing up on that seismograph station there, but I don't see it. So a little bit of swarming going on there. One earthquake, ooh, goodness, right on the, right at the surface level here of the Cascadia. There's a bunch of folds here, and that folding is a result of strain and stress here because that plate, the Juan de Fuca plate, or in this case, the little Gorda plate here is being subducted underneath this region. So there's so much strain here, it's warping the oceanic crust out there. So that's why we have those ridges. So a little earthquake up there, very small one. Let's go check out the tremor map here tonight. There's some of the earthquake activity taking place there throughout the years, except for the Kumano Ridge. Tremor. Go over here to tremor activity real quick. 0. Nada. Nothing showing up here on the tremor map. All right. Pacific Northwest here. A couple earthquakes outside of Mount Rainier. Down across the western edge here. And a couple down in Mount St. Helens. So, well, I'm kind of curious to see what's going on there at Mount Rainier. It's a ways outside of the park, so it looks like it's going to be happening down here. Let's see if we got any signs of it on this seismograph. Well, that's way overdone. Let's see, maybe this one? Come on. Any day now. There we go. Wow, hard to tell if this is... I'm sure there's quite a bit of snow up there. Some of these could be ice quakes. It happens a lot there in the wintertime. Kind of hard to tell, but it doesn't look like there's any, interesting volcanic activity around there. Just a couple smaller microquakes and some ice quakes going on up there at the summit. Aside from that, pretty quiet there across the rest of Oregon. Northern California, as noted, that movement down south there at the southern end of the Cascadia. Bay Area, San Francisco, pretty quiet. Down in Southern California, let's see what we got. A little swarming going on here again. Outside the Fontana area. A couple earthquakes stirring up this morning and this afternoon and early evening. So a little bit of movement here across this area. If I remember right, this region's seen a little bit of swarming prior to today's swarm. Looks like those white circles there indicating the older activity back when they seen a couple of 3s there on the 16th of this month, so just about 10 days or so ago. But we're still seeing a little bit of activity lighting up here across the region. One earthquake on the San Andreas fault there, the Mojave section. Getting a little bit of further activity down here across the southern segment of the San Andreas fault. Although it looks like, let's see, you guys remember that from yesterday? That was down here. Now we got newer activity just up north a little bit today, and right now within the last hour, a little 0.9. That tells me that the strain is working its way up across this area of the southern branch of the San Andreas fault. There's a little bit of swarming going on there near the Coachella area, a couple 1s. So we'll just kind of watch it. I've seen a couple comments on some of my videos in regards to the potential out here of an 8.1. Oh, nothing's going to happen. Nothing ever happens. You keep saying that. Nothing happens. Well, that's not a good mindset to have. Those people right there are normally the ones caught off guard when the big one does hit out there. So it's good to be, aware of what's capable. And that's a large 8.1 out here along the plate boundary. Many other fault systems out here are well overdue as well. That can produce mid-7s. So Southern California pretty much, been skating on some thin ice out here recently. So it's just a matter of time before that, it's never going to happen. Those comments right there will probably go away. But got to watch it. Got to be prepared. You don't want to become a statistic. That is not, don't want to be considered a number. I'd rather survive an event like that. And you can, as long as you're prepared. So a couple earthquakes there just off the southern branch, north of where we seen the activity yesterday, which was closer down here. Some movement across the Fontana area. San Jacinto fault zone, very typical here across this area. Let's kind of watch it, see what happens here. Yellowstone National Park, a couple smaller quakes there from earlier this morning. Let's go check out the Yellowstone Seismograph Station overview. And there's a couple of those earthquakes there. They still haven't added all of them that took place out there. They're stating roughly 8 earthquakes here that struck this area of Yellowstone. I can count a lot more than 8 earthquakes here in the last hour, even some within the last few hours here. So, it's really not a big deal. They don't normally jump on anything like that unless it's a huge earthquake swarm. Then they start paying more attention. Then they start putting more of the earthquakes on the earthquake catalog book. or earthquake catalog page, which is this right here. But yeah, at least they included a handful, I guess. Nothing big, just it's a small little microquake swarm. Texas oil fields out there getting hit. One earthquake out in New Jersey from early this morning. So got some activity out in Hawaii as well, kind of stirring up out here. Out across the upper East Rift Zone, some very shallow earthquake activity stirring up out here. So let's go check it out here from the Kilauea Volcano USGS page. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. The volcano still sitting at a yellow in advisory. That earthquake activity occurring roughly about here. Let's check out some of those seismographs. Wow, it's a little off. Here, almost on this one, it looks like they're reporting all the earthquakes that are showing up there on the graph. Nothing big. I don't see any magma movement, but they're getting a little bit of strain out here across this area in terms of maybe some pressurization going on. The nearest tilt meter is going to be this region right here. A little bit of vertical displacement. Nothing big. Check out the deformation chart here. And kind of an up and down pattern here. Mainly up, though, in the last week. Up and down here in the last 2 days. Pending these are the right charts here, and they didn't just pop up a tilt meter somewhere else. I mean, this looks a lot different than what it used to be out here for monitoring the summit and the upper East Rift Zone, but we'll have to take their word for it here. Either way, the displacement shows that we're going up and up and up, and who knows? As the Pacific Plate moves here over the hot spot, things adjust accordingly down below, and we get the further influx there of magma from the deeper areas underneath this region, and things start to stir up again. So we'll watch that. Nothing major going on, just a little bit of development there underneath the surface, very shallow. What else we got here, folks? One earthquake there across the Iceland area, 3.6. You guys should read this page here. I'm going to include that. I'm going to copy this and include that for the readers out here. I want to check the Iceland site here real quick. Live from Iceland. See what's going on with the current eruption. Wow. Looks like they added a bunch of ads on here or something. I like the other layout better. Here's from Hagefell. Looking towards the eruption. Still looks like it's ongoing there. I don't see anything spectacular going on, but yeah, it's still going. A little bit of fountaining going on there. Close-up view of one active fissure. So let's see if we got anything new here from the Icelandic Met Office real quick. See if there's anything of newer information here with regards to that. This is put out today. Eruption continuously since yesterday. Eruption, it's worded different here from the translation. One crater there east of the Storastagafell area is still active, it looks like. Unable to confirm landfall despite indications of changes. Okay. There's the latest map layout, it looks like. Here's the Blue Lagoon. Savartsingi power plant. The parking lot's gone, obviously. Been paved over with lava. So they'll have to do a new one. But looks like things are, going down on the inflation chart there. Of course, that makes sense because we're depleting the magma volume from below. So really nothing new, I guess, going on. That earthquake that popped up here just a short time ago is, let's see where that's at. A little three-pointer out here across this volcano 3.6. That's a long ways away from the Svartsengi area, which sits down here. But this is obviously a rift boundary, continental rift boundary. Lots of volcanic activity, hydrothermal operations, I'm sure, out there as well. All right, let's see. New Zealand, pretty quiet. Some older movement down there. Like I said, a lot of older quake activity around here right now. I don't know why that's doing that. It's so weird. Only when the globe's moving. Could just be the multitude quakes in there that's kind of making that glitch out a little bit. But, yeah, we'll just kind of keep an eye on things here, see what happens overnight. Again, you know, we could sit here and talk all night about how this fault system's well overdue. That one, no one really knows exactly when it's going to pop. All I know is I watch these little trends of earthquake swarms around it, whether it's north and south of it or really close by, and, you know, make the judgment from there on if we should see anything. And, you know, there's definitely a lot of areas out here that are fairly well primed, and, you know, who knows? We could wake up tomorrow. It can be a whole bunch of earthquakes going on out here, but one never knows, and there's no magic crystal ball to predict when the next big quake's going to happen. You know, anyone could say, yeah, 50 years. Well, yeah, obviously. Mediterranean area, 4's out there across the area of eastern Turkey, it looks like. Let's go check out the space weather map here from solarham.com. Starting to mellow out a little bit here, it looks like, on the solar flare chart. Just consistent with the sea flare activity. And that is due to, well, a number of different reasons out here. Mainly sunspot core separation. That's what's going on here with these two massive sunspots. They're not wanting to get along here, so the separation is occurring, which dulls and pretty much squashes the complexity between the two magnetic structures there that each sunspot harbors. So I'm really not expecting too much from any of these now. This area up here, hard to say. It's still fairly rounded and complex here within its central core. We'll watch that, I guess, for maybe a stronger flare or two in the coming days. Right now, 20% chance for X flare. M flare at 65, C flare around 99% chance or so. And for some reason, they've issued a, looks like a G1 to a G2 class storm coming up here on the 28th and 29th. I don't know why. But, you know, we looked at these models earlier, and it's just barely going to barely get close to the Earth. And I mean the CME here that's coming up. Where'd it go? Hold on a second here. There we go. So here we go here. Let's watch the sun in the yellow, Earth in the green, stereo A here in the red. There's a weak CME. Now if you look here, here's Earth. I don't see how they're classifying that as a G2 class storm. I mean, that is just crazy to think about it. That's going to be the plasma density. Radial velocity here. Again, just barely anything. So I don't know how they're forecasting a G2 class storm. But hey, that's what they have up there for the 28th and 29th, it looks like, UTC time. So maybe tomorrow night. Well, no, that would be here in a couple days, I guess, right? 28th, because technically it's only the 27th on the UTC time, which would yeah, I'd make it tomorrow night sometime, and then Thursday night. So we'll see what happens. Right now I don't see anything on the forecast. They're very weak, but certain models are showing a G2 class storm. Okay. Anyway, folks, trying to think what else is there. Numerical models here. Severe weather. Lots of cold weather up in Canada. Going to be dipping down here across the eastern portion of the country, bringing with it a lot of cold air. Minimal snow, but there'll definitely be some snow wherever there's precipitation. More rainfall there for the Pacific Northwest as we head in the first week of December. And I'm waiting on California to get some more rain. We'll have to watch that. The patterns are at least changing out there. It's not looking as consistently dull as what some of these other weather models were showing. So I like the weather. Sunshine's okay in the summertime when it's supposed to be sunny, but in the wintertime we're supposed to have some rain and some cool temperatures and some wind. But anyway, that's a forecast out there. Really, no major severe weather threats. Possibly here towards the middle of December. We'll have to watch that though. A lot of colder air back behind that low. We'll see what happens. Seismograph stations out there pretty quiet for now. Not seeing anything of abnormal activity. Again, things can change in the blink of an eye, guys. Make sure you have that earthquake early alert system downloaded on your phone. It's a very handy dandy item and app there. You can download it for Android, iPhone, and it's called MyShake. And what happens is, let me pull up the MyShake app here. You'll get an alert whenever there's an earthquake, and it sounds something like, let me see here if I can play this.
Earthquake. Drop, cover, hold on, shaking expected. Earthquake. Drop, cover, hold on, shaking expected.
So that's what it says. I've had it go off in the middle of the night when my phone was on silent too. So it lets you know. Kind of gives you a little bit of time frame, right? If you're about ready to experience a big earthquake, something like that wakes you up in the middle of the night. Earthquake. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we got a few seconds here before the shaking starts. Maybe to get out of bed or do something, a few seconds before a major event can definitely save some lives. So it is called, it's called MyShake. And it's just a couple different settings that you have to do on it, but it's pretty cool. Definitely, I think anyone that lives out here in California should have it. All right, I'm out of here, folks. Have yourself a good evening. We will catch you guys back out here tomorrow sometime for the Wednesday update. Take care.